say. All right,
Yeah,
so
I
from my
know.
channel, and let's do a quick intro. We're live here with Lori from Tech Notice. I forgot to push the go live button, so but we're gonna go live anyway. We're talking about Ryzen 3000 versus Ryzen 5000 series. We're not gonna repeat all we said. If you want to catch the replay over at Tech Notice, you can definitely check out all the things we've saw so far, and we'll just keep rolling forward here as we talk through this. So let's talk about some video editing benchmarks. Um, so I'm going to pull up these charts real quick here, and I'll tell you the numbers because you can't see these over there, but I can at least talk through the audience with these. Talk about Ryzen 3000 versus 5000. So if looking at these benchmark tests, the export time in a 9-minute 4K clip for the 3900X is about 3 minutes and 4 seconds on my tests. The difference between that and the i9 10900K is 3 minutes and 27 seconds. So 304 versus 327. All right, so what we're talking about is how upgrading isn't always the straightest path to better performance. Right now, currently, you can get better performance from the Ryzen versus the i9 10900K with the 3900X. We'll go down to the 1080p export, and the same thing. It's just under a minute faster for the export time. Playback, same thing. You're getting no drop frames. Well, actually, let me take that back. During my test, there was 30 drop frames of full quality 4K. I was using 1660 supers on each test. There were 0 drop frames on the Intel. Yeah, I'm sorry, the audio is bad. Yeah, we're working on that. Me and Tech Notice's first live stream, so we're working through some kinks.
Yeah,
I'm not sure why my audio is so bad, so just bear luck with us as we.
it's odd because we did a test with Ben a few days ago, and the audio was much better.
Yeah, it was totally good. So maybe I can mute my mic here and add my mic. No, then more you can't hear me. So we'll work on that as we move forward, guys. Thank you for understanding that. Let's just pretend we're in the 80s. So like throwback 80s audio sucks.
Yeah,
and we're good. Now this isn't 2020 audio. This is throwback Friday. All right. So Lloyd, let's get some of your thoughts on. You've got the benchmarks from Fusion Systems. Let's talk a little bit more about what to expect with the video editing specifically, because that's what a lot of people on our channels are looking towards. What is the advantage of let's talk about advantage of upgrading versus not upgrading, or buying 5900 versus buying 3900 or whatever.
Okay, 5900 and 3900. It depends on video editing. Okay, so it depends on a program, first of all, because whenever people are buying processors, often, and I was the same at first. I thought, okay, video editing, all the programs work exactly the same. And then, if some guy says, this is a good processor for video editing, that means, oh, it's good for my video editing. But I didn't realize that there's a massive difference whether using DaVinci Resolve, Adobe Premiere Pro, or, I don't know, Sony Vegas, or whatever other programs people are using. The biggest ones, obviously, are Premiere Pro and DaVinci Resolve. And both of these programs have built so differently that the performance for the same processor is going to look exactly different from both of these benchmarks. So, for example, if we're talking about 5000 series versus 3000 series on Adobe Premiere Pro, then we're seeing quite a bit of like increase in performance. So let me put this on here over there so people can see a little bit that the 5000 series CPUs can be anywhere between like 5 to 29% faster than similarly priced Intel processors. And what is it between the last gen is maybe about 5 to 10%, something like that. So if we look in here at like 5950X and 3950X, then these are very similar over here. But 5900X, but 3900XD, there is much more difference over here. So they are better than the last gen, third gen Ryzen's. But when we let me go back down to where is my let's go to the DaVinci Resolve here. When you go to DaVinci Resolve, then the difference is not as big. The difference is very, very little. So let's say if you're buying the processor at, let's say you don't have a system and you're thinking about which one to buy, 5,000 or 3,000, then in terms of Premiere Pro, then there might be a actual, reason why going with 5,000 series. But if you are editing on DaVinci Resolve, for example, then there is not that much of a difference whether you go 3rd gen or 5th gen, 5,000 series. It's
so much.
It's a bit too much, yeah. Anyway, so there isn't that much of a difference. So if you want to save some money, it's worth going 3rd gen, and you're not losing that much power. And later on, if the processors come down in price, for holiday sales or something like that, you can upgrade later. So if you want a solid performance, then I think Ben is right what he was saying, that the 3900X, not XT, but the 3900X is a good value processor over there.
Yeah. And we even talked earlier about the 3700X being valuable because of the actual clock speed. And so, it's really, it comes down to how much better is that performance. And it's not that much better with this generation. It is better, can't lie about that, but it's not that much better. And that's really what we want to drive home is I can't, it's just a weird feeling. Personally, if I'm going to spend my money, I'm going to spend my money on 3rd gen. I'm not going to spend it on 5th gen because 10% isn't that great. And it's already beating out Intel's latest processor. So that's something that, we really have kind of come to a conclusion on is that, okay, so for instance, you said earlier, people got mad at you for talking about the 2080 when the 3000 series, 3000. Now I'm talking crazy. Maybe still be 3000, 380 when that came out because it's not the latest. So I'm about to launch a video with the 3900. I'm about to launch a whole series with the 3900X, and I literally have to personally, I feel like I have to say in the beginning of the video, I'm doing this because of this mentality. Because of this, it's not the newest. This information is garbage. It's not garbage because what I'm saying is this is better. So why spend when this is better for $100, $150, $100, $200 cheaper? It doesn't make sense. Now, I understand if you're a gear enthusiast and you want the latest, then it's a great value because that fulfills an emotional desire. But when it comes to performance, you can adjust your money and spend it better. And that's really what it boils down to. Will the price go down on the 3900X? That's a question I got over here. We don't know. I mean, obviously, that's it could be a nice Black Friday sale, but when you think about it, it's already down compared to the 5000 series.
It is. I think as soon as they dropped the 5000 series, it already came down slightly on the price. But I think at the moment, if I was a retailer, I would keep the price up as much as I can because you can't buy the 5000 series processor at the moment. So you might as well go 3rd gen, so go with that. I've got another question from my side, I think, which would be interesting to know. I'll swap to this. Oh, wait a second. 1 second. And let me get it in the middle here. There we go. This guy here says, guys, please give me an option about what to buy. 3700X or 3800X. I don't use it mainly for gaming and good motherboard, please. Okay. So that is what's his name?
You start with this. You know my opinion.
Yeah. So he doesn't mention what he's doing with the. Does he say what's he doing? Is noisy, inefficient, indigested. Okay, it doesn't non-name official. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that name wrong. But it doesn't mention what he's doing with his processor. And I'm expecting you're doing video editing with it. Then I think you should go with 3700X.
100%.
Because if you just starting off, it sounds like this is the kind of processor where let's say if you have a very established company, a video editing company or media company, then you're probably not looking in that area of process anyway. You're just getting straight away something from the top. But by the sounds of this question, it doesn't sound like you're there yet. So maybe you're starting a bit off, or you're looking to get like the best value for your money. Then go for the 3rd-gen Ryzen, because later on when you make money with your work and doing some freelance jobs, then you can upgrade to the 5000 series, or later on get a better processor. But in terms of if you want to save some money, I don't know, to me that's the no-brainer. Just go with 3rd-gen.
And let's talk about that a little deeper. So we also mentioned a motherboard. So if you get your upgrade will be secure on an X570. So up here in the corner, you can't see it, never mind, I have a box, my motherboard box is up there. It's a ROG Strix X570 motherboard. It's a slightly expensive motherboard. I would also recommend the Asus Tough Gaming not X570. That'd be a more budget friendly. That's a great one. That's the one that you just installed in yours.
Yeah, I had one in there as well.
It's a great motherboard. So I almost went for a 3700X in my build, because when it comes to core upgrades, so going from 8 core, 12 thread, 12 core, 24 thread, you're not going to increase the ability for you to export faster by a massive amount. There might be a few points, gigahertz, clock speed difference between those two. But when it comes to actual raw performance, single core, if you're video editing, you might be able to export 30 seconds faster. I'm not sure, but give me 1 sec. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem.
Keep cruising with that question. Or
I'm going to keep cruising with that question. Yeah, so I think going with that is very good. Let me see if I can get some other questions up here. Why is this going a bit random over here? Okay, let's see what other questions do we have. To understand with Ben with echo and breaking up. Sorry, guys, that's a bit that's a bit sad if that is that. Is stock cooler enough for 3700X, or is it noisy and inefficient? Did you guys test it? So about the 3700X, Ben, this Name official is saying, is the stock cooler good enough? And it for sure is.
Yeah, it really is.
Are you using the stock cooler for
so
your?
Let me give a little application here. Let me show the temps of my. Give me a second. Okay, here we go. Okay, so here are the thermal temps on a 3900X. This is a non-stock air cooler, and the reason I bring up these temps for a non-stock air cooler is because that is insanely low, 48 degrees Celsius. This is a Asus Zephyrus G14 4K export. It's almost double. So if you do a stock air cooler, I'm guessing you might land somewhere in this range, maybe high 60s tops. And it's not like, it's maybe slightly noisier than the Dark Rock Pro 4, but it's not going to be like, they're not going to produce a bad product. AMD has, okay, basically, I have not read a bad review, and I think, Laura, you've actually used one, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't used it.
Which one? Sorry?
The stock air cooler.
Ah, the stock cooler, yeah. I have used the stock cooler on actually 2700X. And the reason, this is one of the best stock coolers that comes with a CPU, by the way. Just so you know, if you buy anything from Intel, there's nothing even close to it. This is a very professional stock cooler that comes with it. And for those guys who like RGB, there is RGB with it as well. And there's it's not just like a block of aluminium or aluminum, as the Americans like to say.
I like saying aluminium better.
Aluminium. Then there's actual heat pipes inside as well, and it just works really, really good.
Yeah, you really can't beat it. I mean, the value there. You don't have to buy a cooler, and if in a couple months down the road you're like, it's loud, it's annoying. Well, then spend $80, $65, and that's a good amount of money. I'm not saying that's not money.
Oh yeah.
Spend $60 and get a I think the Shadow from. I love Be Quiet. I'll just say I'm a huge Be Quiet fan. They have like a Dark Rock, not the Dark Rock Pro, just the Dark Rock. I think it's like $75. You know, so it's an upgrade path. Like you can start there, and if you're annoyed with it, upgrade later.
Yeah.
That'd be definitely my recommendation. I think it's a great question. And I love that question because it's getting people the components they need without spending too much money. Getting people the performance they need without spending too much.
Do you have any other good questions from your side?
I don't. Mine's all just your audio is terrible, Ben. So there's that.
Okay. So here's another one. Let me see if I can switch it to that one.
Yeah.
Okay. So Chase Anderson here says, "I hope this shows quite all right here, or is it too small? Can people see it?"
Expose it a little bit. There we go. Is it going to type more if you can?
Okay, let's see.
Sorry to make you work, Lori. There we go.
That's fine.
Ooh, Micro Center.
So
lucky
at my local Micro Center, the 3800 XT is $300, and the 5800X is $450. Both are in stock. I don't play any games, just edit Lightroom and Photoshop. Which one would be the best to buy?
38.
Okay, let me show you the Photoshop benchmarks,
Yes.
which are
Lori, I'm so glad
over
you have
here.
these on top.
So the thing is, Photoshop best. So let me put my face first and do the big reveal. If you want Photoshop benchmarks, then basically the best processor you can buy for Photoshop and really Lightroom, Photoshop mainly, is the 5800X. There is like no better processor to buy. You can buy the 5950X, which is, more expensive. But the thing is, you're gaining less than 1%, which is, it could be like the error of a test, which means they basically perform exactly the same. So let's see the best benchmarks here now. So as you can see, the 5950X is on the top, and 5800X they're literally exactly the same.
Crazy.
And that is because the single core performance for the new 5000 series processors are pretty much the same on all of them. And if you want like the best bang for buck processor, then it's even worth going with 5600X. I know it's a 6-core, and people think, oh, is 6-core enough these days? But look at it. It performs within, what's the math here? Let's have a look. So 1114 divided by 1195 equals, so 7%. So that is 7%, actually 6.8% different between 5600X and 5800X. I don't know. The price difference is going to be massive, but the actual difference is not that much.
Yes. Yeah, that was good. I'm glad you brought up those tests, because it's amazing how video editing, the difference between 3000 and 5000 is not that high. But in Photoshop, wow, it's quite a big difference.
Yeah.
200-300 points difference from 37.
Yeah.
That was a great recommendation for Ryzen 5 series.
Yeah. So, and if you look at Intel 10900K on Photoshop especially, which used to be a very good processor, like the best processor you can get for Photoshop, as you can see, then suddenly all the 5000 series are on top. Even the 6-core is on top. So I think the 5600X, what is the MSRP for this?
I'm going to say it's around 3 something, I would guess.
Let me quickly look that up.
Okay.
5600X, so it is $300 or $3,000, something like that. Sorry, $3,000. $300, £300.
Yeah, just around 325 ish.
And the Intel 10900K is about 550 here in the UK. I know, because I just like secured one for a future project because I needed one, and then I was thinking, whoa, that is really expensive. And then why am I getting this, even if the Ryzen is? But it's going to be a special purpose.
100%. And the thing is, I was editing on a 2017 Dell XPS 15 with a 4-core 8-thread i7 7700HQ up until 4 months ago. And that laptop, now that I have my editing rig and my live stream rig, sucked. But it didn't suck until I upgraded. I was able to edit 1080p, some light 4K. So in Photoshop, you can totally get away with that 6-core 12-thread. Think about this. The MacBook Pro, the current MacBook Pro has what? 6 cores, 12 threads. The MacBook Pro, I'm going to say it 50 more times. No, I'm just kidding. So it's like this whole idea of like people forget that Macs, obviously Mac versus Windows now, but a Mac is amazing in Photoshop. It's one of the highest benchmarks. So it's not always, oh, okay, I need more cores, more threads. It's just the clock speed is often the big difference.
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right.
So I've got a question over here. He says he's building a complete Republic of Gamer rig. He wants to know, should I go with the 5950X, or he didn't give me an alternative. Oh, there you go, 5900X. He's using the 3880 along with it.
What's he doing it with it?
Yeah, I'm trying to see that.
Yeah.
Workload with cameras, heavy workload. So it looks like, editor. Okay, so he's doing video editing. So you want to pop those Premiere Pro results and let's talk through that a little bit?
Yep. Yeah, the result coming up now.
5950. And he also does some boards playing too.
Okay, so here we have 5900X over here and 5950X.
Do that again.
There is. Okay, so that.
50. Okay,
let's zoom in.
Yeah, it's just here coming into clarity because of our internet connections here.
Yeah, so let me show this. So 5900X, 12 core, and so it's the dark red over here on top of each other. And as you can see, there is 38 points in between.
Yeah,
it's like hardly anything, honestly.
Yeah. And remember, gaming more cores doesn't do anything for you.
No, not really. There's hardly any games that can utilize more than 8 cores, I think.
Yep.
So although if you do a lot of streaming at the same time, for example, or other applications at the same time, then there is a point of doing,
Yeah, but 16 cores versus 12 cores. I mean, you already have.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah, exactly.
If we're comparing, 6 cores versus 16 cores, then
yeah,
sure. He's already got 12 cores. I'm live streaming right now, web browsers, and I think I even forgot to close a few things. So, and we're streaming right along.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's that.
I'd worry about internet connection more than I'd worry about 6 cores versus 12 cores.
But like, I would push that question even further and ask, what would you get? 5900X 12 core or 3950X, which are essentially, the 3950X is a bit more, but I think they are very similar pricing now. Are they? Or is 5900X a bit cheaper?
It's still a bit cheaper. I think the last project it was like $700 for the 3950.
Yeah. So basically, we are coming to the conclusion that if you want to go at DaVinci Resolve, don't even go with 3950X, but 5900X. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, because it's going to save you some money, and it just
the performance difference here is
5950 because of that doesn't have that much performance. What about Premiere Pro? Are you DaVinci Resolve or Premiere Pro?
Premiere Pro. Let's go Premiere Pro now. Where is it?
Make it work.
Premiere Pro. So 5900X or 5950X.
There you go. Same thing. Almost
same
barely
thing.
30 points ish. And then right there, 3950. So really, this is what you should decide between, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the thing is, this core difference here is mostly the difference is because of the export score, and because if you dive in more deeply into the benchmarks, there is a big part of the benchmarks is exporting score, and obviously, if you've got more cores, the exporting score will be much faster than the 12 core, but most of the time, what makes a good editing experience is not the exporting time, but the actual live playback.
Yeah.
Which is very similar on these two. So there's no point of going with 5950X unless in your workflow, you have to export a lot of things at the same time.
Yeah. And then I mean, look at this. The 39XT was 911 versus the 1590T, which was, or 1500X, which was 981. So even there, you only have 70 points. You could get away with the 3900X. Like
Yeah.
really save some money.
So here's another question, if you have time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is Jinmei P Div is saying here, Ryzen 7 3700X plus 3060 for graphic design, Resolve, and Blender. What do you think? Otherwise, he will unsubscribe.
Okay. So your graphic design, Resolve, and yeah.
So
it's more about the GPU in that standpoint, because that processor would be fine.
yeah, but the thing is, 3060 isn't out yet. So we have no like.
It yesterday.
I know there was some benchmarks leaked and things, but you can't really know the paper leaks until like someone's actually done some benchmarks. So I wouldn't know, but I expect it's going to be very good, because it's probably going to be within the same price range as the 2060 Super, maybe slightly more expensive, but you're going to get a lot more for your money for sure. So Blender, yeah, you'll be fine. Blender, well, depends whether you're using GPU or CPU blendering, utilization of rendering. Blendering.
Yeah,
CPU.
I would prefer the GPU. Like Lori was saying earlier, you can get a 28 Ti for $5. Check the quality,
Yeah,
that'd be where I would go.
There's another one here. It says, is it a huge difference between the Ryzen 7 3700X and a Ryzen 5 5600X? I mean, how much faster is the Ryzen 7 over Ryzen 5?
Again, what's your application? That's always important when people ask these questions.
Yeah.
Your application is absolutely essential. So if we're talking Photoshop, well,
yeah, 5600X.
Yeah. If we're talking Premiere Pro, it could be different. So if you do ask a question about the different processor, letting us know your application is hugely helpful.
So definitely. Obviously, yeah, when you're doing more rendering and like different where your application can utilize multi-cores, then you can get the 3700X, because if your application can utilize this, which I think Blender can, then you'll be able to do that. It'll be much better.
Yeah. Do you have any
more? Let me quickly. I'm not so fast reading them. Let me have a look. What is here? Okay, there is actually quite a good question over here.
Go for it.
So Mr. Tech is saying, is it worth getting the $300 5600X over the $200, possibly $180 3600 for video editing? Now, I know that the 5600X is better in every way, but is it $100 better? Especially considering that I'm building a PC for DaVinci Resolve, which is more dependent on the GPU, then the $100 could go for a better GPU. Totally agree.
Yeah. You're right.
Especially going on a budget here. Absolutely. And the good thing is he's talking about the 3600 over here, not 3600X or not 3600 XT, because all of them are, more expensive processor, but still the 3600X is one of the like golden nuggets of the processors, because you get 6 cores, 12 threads, and very solid performance with it. And if you're confident in overclocking, then you can overclock this to very similar performance as 3600 XT. But I always advise my viewers, if you're doing professional work, don't overclock, because if you lose like even 15 minutes work, then it's not worth it, or even an hour's of work of because you're Windows blue screen because the processor just gave up on you for that second.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Yeah, you're only going to get maybe 5 to 10% better performance, possibly.
Yeah, exactly. It's not worth it.
With wanting to go for a GPU, especially in DaVinci. If you're a Pro, I would steer you differently. But since you're Yeah, you're on the right track. Say that. The 3600 like standard, I think does have great benchmarks. Obviously, it's not going to be as good as an X and especially a 5000, but really, when it comes down to it, you're going to get better performance of taking that $100 and going with a better GPU, especially Resolve.
Yeah, that dream ship I found. Oh, sorry, I'll have to zoom in a bit before I can show you this. Okay, let's get this here. So the person who asked before. Okay, I'll have to move a bit this way. The person who asked before, where is his question?
Yep.
3700X or 5600X. He is talking about photo editing, Capture One Pro. Well, actually, that is a little bit of a question that I might not be able to give a complete answer to. I can only guess because I don't have Capture One Pro's benchmarks over here, and I'm not sure how does Capture One utilize a processor, because what we were comparing there, it was Photoshop, which does use a lot of single core. Then for Photoshop, if you're asking 3700X or 5600X, I think that was the question. Yeah, then I think you should be going with, well, for sure, you should be going with 5600X because you'll get much better performance. Yeah. Photoshop loves the, very good single core score.
Yes.
Not the clock speed, but score, because for the same clock speed, you can get different scores.
Yeah. Well, which is why the MacBook Pro is like leader in Photoshop scores for the longest time, because it does here. Let me show you, because it does have 6 cores of threads, because Apple is obsessed with optimization. It's in the top 4 of the best Photoshop results laptops I've ever had on my channel.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that in mind, 6 cores of 12 threads is not going to be an issue, especially when you're pushing better clock speeds and you have a PC build which run cooler. There's just a lot of pros to it. So, excuse me.
Yeah. So Pat Gunn here is saying, is the Ryzen 9 3900X with RTX 3070 good enough for video and photo editing, or should I get something else? Premiere Pro, Photoshop, Lightroom, many thanks. You both are awesome. Pat, you are awesome. Thanks for asking the question. Honestly, you are looking at like an absolute top of the line like setup over here. 3900X. A lot of people will be very jealous of you for having 12 core processor. I know it's Ryzen 3rd gen and old processor. Come on, it is.
With me, I'm old. Remember, this is 80s audio, 80s size.
So you're gonna be absolutely fine. And the 3070 is a very good graphics card. You're gonna be fine, absolutely fine.
I run a 1660 Super in my rig. It's not amazing. I'm not like, but like it works great. I get a couple drop frames in 4K.
Yeah,
doesn't affect me.
Yeah, like another thing you should probably consider is like how much time do you have in your hands? Sorry, that was random. But what I mean is, if you have time working with proxies, if you have time, if you have, sorry, my mind's going. If you have, oh, come on, what was I thinking? Yeah, proxies, that's it, proxies. So if you have time to create proxies overnight, for example, then listen, you can get so much lower processor and save a lot of money. Yeah. If you have that time to create proxies, you should create proxies and save a lot of money on the processors, because there is, let's say if you have a proxy of 3600, right, the 6-core processor, 3rd gen Ryzen, or 5950X super fast processor, then your proxy will probably run faster on 4K. 4K proxy will run faster than 5950X on a full res 4K. So basically, if you have that time, always consider going with lower processors and using proxies if you want to save some money.
Yeah, I think the one thing is like I for the longest time didn't understand like proxies. So for like a new editor, like that sounds like overwhelming. Like how do I even do that? So a lot of times people upgrade or buy a more expensive processor because they don't want to fuss with all of the technicalities, which is a lot of times the way I feel. So that's why like my reviews are to really to create a user because I'm not super efficient or understanding of all the different intricacies of the programs. So
Yeah, that's true. It is a very valid point, and that's why a lot of people are going with Apple instead of PC. I think the no-brainer type of thing, and how Apple gives you benchmarks. For example, if you look at Apple Keynote, there is no actual like, oh, we got this score or we got that score. Apple is saying it is 2x faster or 7x faster than last time, or we have this much more, battery life or whatever, which is what most people get. Okay, it's that much faster, but it's just interesting, I think.
yeah, for sure. I have a few questions on my end.
Yeah.
The first one is, would you recommend a base model G14, the Zephyrus G14, 1650 Ti, 4600H, or the Apple MacBook Pro 13 with 16 gigs of RAM memory, base model? If you're talking about the Intel version of the 13-inch MacBook Pro, I would lean towards the base model of G14. It's going to be a little faster performing for video editing. Now, for Photoshop or for Final Cut Pro, you might be able to do some good things with the MacBook Pro 13. But if you're doing like DaVinci Resolve or Premiere Pro, I'd lean towards the G14. Another question: the Asus ZenBook 15 with the i7U and 1650. You're a programmer. I think I would lean towards the ZenBook 15 over the Lenovo Flex 5. You're just going to have more power with that dedicated GPU and the i7. That'd be kind of my recommendation to answer those two questions.
Yeah.
I probably won't review the MateBook. I can never get a hold of that brand. They never respond to me. So sorry. I was talking about M1 version. Well, I haven't reviewed it. I'll actually be reviewing it this weekend. This is my shipping slip. I missed it yesterday. So I will be reviewing that over the weekend, and I will have videos to come. So keep you guys posted.
Yeah. So guys, on Tech Notice, if you want to see MacBook Pro M1 chip benchmarks or videos, then go on to Ben's channel, hit that subscribe button and say, love you, bro. And comment came from Tech Notice.
Yes. And if you want quality PC build videos and somebody who's they're talking about, as I'm learning, I'm talking about PC builds. You got your Tech Notice over there.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think I'm going to wrap up here. I've heard,
Yeah.
the little ones are awake, so I'm going to wrap up. If you've enjoyed this, if you love my throwback retro 80s audio, then drop some love, some like, some subscribe, and hopefully next time it won't be so atrocious. Hopefully that's more like story.
We'll figure this out, Ben. We'll figure this out
with my audio.
Yeah.
Yep.
The same guys. Yeah, I'm going to say bye to my Tech Notice fans as well, or guys and the subscribers. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I can see there's people all over the world. I even had some Estonians watching. So, aitäh väga palju, kes on eestlased vaatavad, siis tere, tere. Okay, and see you very soon, guys. Sorry about the audio, and we'll figure that out much better next time. We'll see you soon.
Later.
Adios. Okay, I have ended my stream.